Hey everyone, welcome back to the RPGames YouTube channel. My name is Ralph. Welcome to this winter landscape. We are at the Lost Chapel. We're
Careful now.
gonna try and figure out the whole Sosiel thing. And we need to speak to a number of fugitives who hang out here, apparently. Somewhere, not clearly not there. And Lost Chapel is quite a big map, so... Oh, we might have found them already. Deserter. A pair of wounded fugitives sit wrapped in a rag near a barely smoking fire, half man and a dwarf woman. There's a mixture of revulsion and sympathy on Sosiel's face. After a moment of hesitation, he walks towards the fire. Did you escape from slavery among the Knights of the Order of the Nail? What? No, Reverend Cleric, we know nothing about any... Stop playing dumb. They know all about us. It's obvious that Graham ratted us out, scoundrel. Damn it, we're done for. The half-elf looks at you wistfully. He's clearly ready to part with his life. Sosiel looks at you silently. There's a storm of emotions on his face. He opens his mouth to say something, but after taking a shaky breath, closes it again. The cleric obviously doesn't know where to begin. So you really did serve the Order of the Nail. We did. Not in the order proper, of course, just as hired soldiers. First we served for money, then they made us slaves and we worked for free. We deserved to be punished. Because of us, the only good person in their damn order perished. It's true. We hadn't lost our nerve back then. Can you tell us about Graham? He's a complete scumbag. The Hell Knights' hired infantry are no followers of Shaelin. There aren't many good people among us, but Graham still stood out. The last to fight, the first to eat, always ready to pillage, rob civilians, steal from corpses. There's nothing he wouldn't do. And he drank like a horse. One of the knights, probably the best of them, he made Graham his valet, tried to make him a better person, but to no effect. Graham quit drinking, though. He was still scum. This knight had a saying. He said Graham changed his gold for copper coins. Not sure there was ever anything golden about Graham. Rust, more like. But Master Vainik tried to see some good in him. It's a pity he died without finding anything. Changed his gold for copper coins? Sosiel repeats these words in a whisper, clenching his fists. Or proverb from Andoran. Tell me about the death of the knight and your escape. The order we served hunted monsters. You know, manticores, basilisks, sometimes even dragons. This time their instincts were wrong. Yeah, they didn't expect that beast. Caught them off guard and before we knew it, half the unit was dead. They tried to fight back, but we... What about us? For us it was a chance to be free. We ran towards Canabras. Nobody there would care that we'd come from, or who we'd served, but Graham was braver. He took armor from a corpse and went to Mendef through Dresden. It's probably where you picked him up, right? Tell me what you know about Trevor Vainik. Master Vainik? We served under his command. He was an amazing man, a true hero. What was he doing among the Hell Knights, though? We heard he came from somewhere in Andoran, not for profit like us. No, he had one goal, to rid the world of demons. I always thought he was too good to be a Hell Knight. Such a man should have been a paladin. But who are we to question our commander about his life choices? Anyway, he made his way in the world. In half a year was promoted from a squire to a knight, went through the trial, earned the right to wear black armor. Sosiel bites his lips without saying a word. What kind of person was he? Strict, demanding, towards others but towards himself above all. And despite his strictness, he was a kind man. He just knew that discipline was required if we wanted to survive here among the demons. He'd work us hard, he could trash the hide of us for wrongdoings. But his strictness saved many lives. Yeah, he often talked to us about his brother. According to him, he was a real saint. Even if only part of what Master Vainik told us was true, his brother was a decent man. Not a fighter, not a hero, an ordinary village priest somewhere in Andoran. A man who seeks no glory, but just does everything he can to help others. Sosiel looks away. Yeah, they're talking about you, Sosiel. Social. I think Sosiel's last name is Media. Oh my goodness. Get out of here with those dumb jokes. Master Veining idolized him. He used to say he would never be as good a person to him, but at least he would win this war so that his brother wouldn't have to see it. I don't know what kind of person his brother really is, but I remember one thing. He used to say, when you go to war, leave your heart at home or you'll taint it. I think his heart really stayed there, with his brother in Onderon, among all those orchards and wine groves. Clean and pure, while his body was drowning in mud and blood here. What happened to him? We killed him. Ouch. That's not true. It was demons that killed him. We could have saved him, but we were cowards. I'll never forgive myself. We were hunting down a chimera and Master Veining and the other knights were supposed to kill it, and suddenly a terrifying demon in a black mask appeared out of nowhere. He roared something like "You'll do" and grabbed Master Veining, and then he ran straight at us. We should have fought and taken him back, but we panicked and scattered, and when we came to our senses there was no sign of them. We were made slaves as punishment. They said that if we couldn't fight honorably in formation, we'd atone for our crimes by doing dirty work. They made us dig trenches, carry baggage, and in battle they'd send us ahead to distract the monsters as bait. We dropped like flies. And of all those who were on the damned hunt, only 2 of us survived. 3 if you count Graham. Wait, so was he killed or abducted? No one found his body, it's true. No one saw him again either. What could the demons have done to him? They must have devoured him, hopefully it was quick. There was a woman named Marenta in Chapter. How did she get Trevor's shield? She was Master Veining's betrothed. When the demon dragged him away, his shield was left on the ground. Marenta took it as a keepsake. I don't know what he saw in her, she was angry like a devil. But with him, even she seemed to become a bit kinder. Once he was gone, she turned into a real Aranus. She wanted us to be executed for cowardice, every last one of us. When the commander said no, she left for another order. I don't know what happened to her after that. This is why I don't ask my soldiers about their past. If I'd known about these theatrics of hers, my opinion of her would have been much lower. I just watched her in battle. In the end, she proved to be a worthy fighter. Tell me about yourself. There's nothing special about us, but if you have questions, ask us and we'll answer honestly. Well, I already asked all of these questions, so... what do you say, Sosiel? Sosiel? So you are... Yep, he is the brother. No one saw a body, right? So maybe I still have a chance of fighting my lost brother. Thank you for your words, you've given me back my hope. Sosiel hands a small bag to the fugitives. Take this. These are our healing potions, food, some gold, and a letter. Show it to the guards at the gates of Canabras. You will be taken care of. Sosiel gives Regil a defiant look, but says nothing. The gnome shrugs nonchalantly. Strictly speaking, these 2 are the property of the Order of the Nail, but I see they're a useless rubbish. I'll have to submit a report about misuse of resources, but it will most probably go unread. The Order has more important problems than chasing these 2 wretches. Just lost an entire chapter. Did you hear? The Order will be notified about your location. Don't stay in Canabras for too long. I could take the lawful thing here, but I mean, it's Sosiel's brother, so who am I to contradict his opinion, right? Like, I'm not gonna say anything. Thank you, Master Veining. Your brother was right. You really are a saint. Taking the bag, the fugitives walk away quickly. The cleric watches them leave. It seems I knew very little about my brother, and about myself. He looks at you sadly. We'll find your brother, wherever he is. Yes, thank you for continuing the search with me. Even if he is in the abyss, dead or alive, I'm sure that together we'll find him. I found out the truth, but I'm not sure what to think of it. Trevor fell as a paladin, but did you hear what those people said about him? He was the best for the Hell Knights? Can't wrap my head around it. What do you make of all of it? Your brother hoped to keep his heart pure, but he couldn't. Alas, this happens to many people in war. That saying about leaving one's heart at home, it didn't save him. But if Trevor wasn't strong enough, what will happen to me? Will I also become? The most important point is he might still be alive. I don't know what demon in a black mask attacked him, where he was taken, and it scares me to imagine what they did to him there. But he might still be alive, and that means my hope is still alive too. Thank you for helping me find out the truth, whatever it was. Okay, that concludes Sosiel's companion quest for now. Let us return. Okay, so 1/4 of the outpost level can be upgraded to a bastion level. Do we need to pick which one now? Let me quickly see if I can do that immediately. It's actually this one that I wanted to upgrade. Yes, settlement can be upgraded to the next level. There we go. Okay, so we can build a bunch of stuff here. What I would like to build is a teleportation circle. Let's see, what do we have here? Garrison barracks. Okay. Let me put a teleportation circle in here. Let's put a training grounds. Put down a hospital. A citadel might be nice as well, because this is a place that might be sieged a couple of times. Let's put an apothecary there, and that's pretty much all we can do. Okay, and we can do the enchanting of the unholy symbol of Rovagok once Stavanius' stuff is done. Okay, so what I would like to try in this episode, and the emphasis is on try, is there is this mythic quest that I want to do, where the hand of the Inheritor here is going to take me to a shrine somewhere deep into the abyss. And I want to give it a shot. Let's see, we've gained a bunch of levels. Who knows, it might work out. I want to go to Pulura's Fall.
I will be glad to accompany you. Gather your companions and let us depart.
Now, I might be way out of my league here if this turns into combat somehow. The woman's face seems to glow with a radiant light. She looks at you with quiet dignity, and her eyes shine with warmth and wisdom. Greetings, Herald of Iomedae the Lightbringer, and to your companion as well. I am Eliandra, High Priestess of Pulura, and I'm happy to see a new face in my temple, the first I've seen in all the years of our vigil. The man standing next to Eliandra does not look like a priest. He has a military bearing and his face is covered with scars. He studies you for a moment and looks you straight in the eye. Katair, leader of the Holy Guards of Pulura's Fall. I see you have revealed our existence, Hand of the Inheritor. Did we not agree to keep it a secret, even from the Crusaders? What has changed? My righteous allies. This is no ordinary Crusader, but our champion. He brings us hope. He was chosen to receive the gift of the gods, and has twice dealt a serious defeat to our enemies. First in Canabras, where he thwarted Dascari's devious plot, then in Dresden, where he saved the city and returned the Sword of Valor. I ask that you receive him as a most welcome guest, and as a brother in arms, for we stand together against the hordes of the Abyss. I am Cauldar, Knight Commander of the 5th Crusade, and I'm honored to meet the servants of Pulura and the defenders of Sarkoris. Eliandra lays a hand on her heart. It's an honor for us as well. Tell me about your mission. Why did you decide to remain here in the Worldwound? This temple has been blessed by Pulura. Whether it's day or night, the stars are always visible within the heart of this sanctuary. It is why those who study the stars conduct their observations here. Moreover, if we ever hope to understand the Worldwound, the only place to study it is within its very borders. If we leave Pulura's Fall, all the work we have done over the past 100 years will be lost. You may be wondering why this work is so important. The answer is simple. We are looking for a way to heal the Worldwound once and for all. Through our many years of study, we have discovered that the Worldwound cannot be closed like an ordinary portal or a planar gate, because it's too much like a living creature, always growing and changing. The Worldwound does not simply exist on its own. There is something else that sustains it, and until we understand what that is, our efforts to close it will never succeed. However, we have achieved much over the years. We have disproved numerous theories and trialed various research methods. Tracking oscillating energy levels across the Worldwound led us to an important discovery. The Worldwound has a heart of sorts. The place where the wound was first opened, the Threshold Fortress. We've also found a way to weaken the heart along with the demons that inhabited it. We will imbue a mighty artifact with both the power given to us by Pulura and the memory of the priests of Sarkoris. It will weaken the connection between the Threshold Fortress and the Abyss. This artifact will clear the sky above the fortress and set the sacred northern stars ablaze. Even if this doesn't heal the wound, it will give strength to those attacking its monstrous heart. What's the situation in Pulura's Fall? Things are no better or worse than they have been over the past 100 years. The temple is safely hidden from the prying eyes of demons. They simply cannot see it. However, only the most experienced fighters leave the boundaries of the temple, and they do so secretly, for the heart of the Worldwound lies beyond its walls. Demons and foul corruption, even the corpses of our own dead, have turned against us. You say you've been living here for 100 years, but you do not look that old. It is a rather uncomfortable subject for us, but by the will of the Lady Pulura and all the inhabitants of the temple live longer than the normal lifespan allotted to mortals. We have no need of the Sun Orchid elixir, as our queen does. Power of the stars sustains us. We will face Pharasma's judgment only when we fulfill our mission, or the temple falls. I have all the resources of the crusade at my disposal. I'm sure we can assist you in your work. I do not think that's possible. This is our life's work. It requires endless devotion and can only be completed by followers of Pulura and her sacred temple. No one can aid us in this task, however. There is other work we were forced to abandon because we lack the strength, time and resources. We previously explored the possibility of opening new world wounds or improving the existing one. Did you know the wound has already undergone a growth spurt of sorts? It's not entirely clear what happened, but the wound suddenly began to expand at a rapid pace. The energies of the Abyss poured out of it. We tried to discover what triggered this event so that we could prevent it from happening again. Research on that subject ended several decades ago, and we can give you everything we managed to discover. However, you should be careful. This is dangerous knowledge and it must not fall in the wrong hands. The hand of the Inheritor and I have a matter to discuss with you. My righteous allies allow me to tell you about the matter that has brought us here. You knew Targona and Lariel, the angels who defended Sarkoris in its final dark days. Cauldar helped me to discover the fate of Lariel, and it was a loss sorrowful. But I have not lost hope of finding Targona, and I believe you can help me. Cauldar has a special gift, the imprint of Lariel's sword. The sword was made by Targona. I know it is within your power to look for the creator of this blade if Cauldar reveals its power to you. Of course, we would not deny help to our allies. My Lady Pulura would also be glad to see Targona return, should we manage to find her alive. The scrying ritual requires preparation. I will give the necessary orders. You will have to wait until everything is ready and the stars favor our efforts. We will help, but it would be best if you leave Pulura's Fall after the ritual. Forgive my bluntness, Hand of the Inheritor, but you and the Knight Commander are notable figures. Demons are surely trying to track you. If they follow you to our temple, our work may come to a tragic end. Eliandra's eyes drift over to one of the guards and she is silent for some time. Then she says softly, I would like you to be our guest for a while, Knight Commander, while you wait for the ritual. See the way we live, talk to our people. Maybe news of the crusade revival will bring some cheer to our little community. I would ask you to pay special attention to the temple guards, as well as to the stargazers, Auden, Ragnard, and Tariel. There are clouds feel their souls, but it's not within my power to help them. You should honor her request, champion. Eliandra is one of the most radiant souls I know, and Katair is one of the most loyal and devoted. They have spent 100 years together with their comrades in voluntary isolation. It would be easy to lose one's clarity of perspective. I do not know mortals well enough to sense whether doubt or despair lives in the heart of those who dwell in the Fall, but perhaps you can. Alright, here is our first concerned guard. The guard stands at attention when he sees you, but his eyes are glowing with excitement. Whoa! I didn't think I would ever see a new face around here, well, at least not one that isn't bearing its fangs or decomposing. Forgive my bluntness, everyone's happy you're here, of course, but I'm especially glad to see you. Sorry, I'm just talking nonsense now. I tend to start blathering. Blathering. Blabbering and blathering. Being myself right now, when I get nervous. You're especially happy to see me. What does that mean? The guard looks around quickly to make sure no one is listening. I would have never thought I'd say this, but there is an important matter that can only be entrusted to a stranger. I think there is a traitor among us, someone who's trying to bring the demons here. I found a strange letter hidden in a cave, and I think we need to find out who left it there. Why? What was in the letter you found? That's the problem, I don't know, I think it's some kind of code. Looks like a constellation chart, but who hides a constellation chart in a cave? Something's wrong here. Why haven't you told Eliandra and Katair about the letter? Just imagine what will happen if Eliandra announces there is a traitor among us. Even if it turns out I'm wrong, the damage will already be done. If we stop trusting one another, we won't stand a chance. We might as well leave the temple and let the demons finish us off. No, we need to get to the bottom of this, and it must be done quietly. Alright, I'll help. What do you need me to do? Here's the plan. You'll go to the caves and hide behind a large stone covered in ruins. Watch to see who comes to pick up the letter. I left it there as bait, and I made sure to leave everything else untouched. No one has come for it yet, but when you find out who has betrayed us, come and tell me. Why not set up an ambush yourself? I wouldn't be able to do anything without people noticing. Whoever left the note knows that I'm here in the corridors when I'm off duty. If I suddenly disappear, the traitor will definitely suspect something. No, we need an outsider, someone who can move around more freely. We need you. How does it feel to guard the same place for so many years? To tell you the truth, I don't even notice the years as they pass. I just get up every day and do my job. Of course, I could go visit the scholars, look at the calendar, be horrified, but what would be the point? Even before the demons showed up, I made a vow to defend this temple. That vow was all I have left, really. The Sarkoris that I knew was gone, so there's no use dwelling on the past. Okay, so we got dragged into that nice thing. Looks like a quite sizable map. Here is a stargazer. It's good that we can now watch the stars without distraction. The temple used to conduct funeral ceremonies, and they were always very tiresome. A small mushroom patch that has clearly been tended with loving care. Aww. They love mushrooms. Oh, lovely. Let's see, this is the note, I'm guessing. Lore religion.
I think I did it.
An inscription in Heli that reads, O Sarkoris, all our tears are for you, our lost land. How are we supposed to hide behind this thing? Over there? Do we need to cast what is up in the ceiling here?
Let us be off.
At first glance, this appears to be an ordinary constellation chart, but something about it doesn't seem right. Someone has left it in the caves near Pulura's temple. Okay. Oh, we can do something with this. Ambush the traitor. Alright, let's try that. A dark figure stealthily approaches the drop location. In a dim light, you can see it's a middle-aged man. He looks around furtively as he reaches for the letter. Let's silently step out from the hiding place. The man finds nothing in the drop location and releases a sigh of disappointment. He turns to leave and freezes when he sees you. There is terror in his eyes and he quickly regains his composure. The commander of Dresden, right? I'm Vestari from the temple. I didn't expect to see you here. Just taking a walk. Why are you mumbling? Tell me the truth or I'll shake it out of you. Alright, You don't live in a temple, so there's no need to hide anything from you. I'm breaking the law, but I haven't betrayed anyone. It's quite the opposite, actually. You should come with me and ask Christry about the meaning of the note. Christry always says she doesn't want to hide it anymore, so maybe talking to you will help ease her conscience. Oh boy, is it a love letter? I think it is. I'm actually not quite sure if this is where we're supposed to walk. Let's explore the place a little bit. We got a whole bunch of people in here. And we got loot. Alright. A Pulura full spoon. I'm sure that will get us a good amount of money. There's a door there. Let me see. Pulura's Guard, Katair, Pulura's Guard, Monadic Diva. Katair's gaze is clear and direct as he greets you. I'm listening. Tell me about Sarkoris. I would rather not answer that question. I'm sorry, that was rude. It's just, not many can boast that their country has been wiped off the face of Galarian. Not conquered, not decimated, but wiped out, along with all of its people, cities, forests, and rivers. And I watched it happen with my own eyes. And I want to remember what everything was like before. Do you know anything about Ariel Uvoralesh and the opening of the Worldwound? May that witch be damned for all eternity along with her progeny if she has any. Yes, I know about her, though not much. There was no respect for arcane magic in Sarkoris, and there were reasons for her distrust. Divine spellcasters always have someone above them, someone who can control them. A dishonorable priest or a paladin will lose their powers immediately. Even with the priest of an evil god, an enemy, you still always know who they are, what to expect from them. There's no higher authority for wizards. Nothing limits their might. Through their experiments with the very essence of the world. Our elders tried to control this chaos as best as they could, but they did not wish to be harsh. They didn't execute offenders on the spot, they simply put them in prison. Wizards weren't even forbidden from practicing magic, they simply had to do it under supervision. But with Arielu, everything went wrong. The witch managed to reach out to Discari directly from the fortress, where she was being held, and then served up her country on a silver platter. To the Lord of the Abyss. Or do you manage to keep your life in the temple a secret? We made everyone believe that Pulura's fall was destroyed along with Sarkoris. We staged the destruction of the temple. It was 100 years ago now, but those of us who had families didn't even get to say goodbye. Couldn't let anyone from the outside world know that we were still alive and hiding in a temple. Since then, only a few of the most experienced rangers are allowed to leave the temple and go on raids. We do it secretly, pretending to be crusaders or cultists. And we go to great lengths to ensure that we're not followed. So far, our tactics have been successful. We've survived here for 100 years, and I hope things continue that way. Okay, let us see if we can open this door. I'm hoping this is not a puzzle of some kind. Well, I say that I'm hoping, like I'm not hoping there's no puzzles in the game, because obviously YouTube videos about puzzles are quite popular. Since everyone is trying to figure out how to solve them. And we speak to... oh, Eliandra. How can I help you, my radiant friend? Well, it's true actually, look, I'm actually radiating. Why did you ask me to talk to the temple's inhabitants? Are you worried about something? My request to you was made on impulse. To put it simply, a heavy burden has been placed on our shoulders and it's easy to grow weary. We not only live in complete isolation, but we have done so for a very long time, an entire lifetime for some races. I'm afraid many will be broken by this ordeal, if they have not been already. It would be easier if I could be dispassionate like Katair, but I cannot. I worry for those in my care. Feel like a mother who can not protect her children from pain and grief. When I saw you, I hoped you'd be a breath of fresh air, that your presence would renew and restore our spirits. Tell me about your mission. Why did you decide to remain here in the Worldwound? This temple has been blessed by Pulura. Yeah, we've already seen that. Tell me about Sarkoris. It was a wonderful land, even if many thought it savage and wild. It still lives in my memory, as if nothing has changed. I can see the barges gliding across the surface of the lake. I can smell the fresh air, feel the wind on my skin as it moves through the green forests. Sarkoris was never ruled solely by one person, nor was it governed by a single fate. Clans lived in accordance with their own customs and settled important issues through lively debate, communal meetings. Matters involving the whole country were decided in Is, by a gathering of the elders, priests, druids, chieftains. We worshipped the Rastal and Pulura, the spirits of our honorable ancestors, the sanctity of nature, and a dozen different deities and magical creatures. That is what Sarkoris was, the land of freedom. However, that freedom was not extended to all. As I think you know, only the magic of druids, priests, and other divine spellcasters was considered honorable. Those who used arcane magic were treated with suspicion, which grew into hatred. Grieves me to remember this, for our hatred was returned to us in full when the witch Aurelu took vengeance on those who had hurt her. What do you know about Aurelu? More than some, but not as much as I would wish. I've been to Threshold, the fortress where outlawed spellcasters were held, and where Aurelu conducted her monstrous ritual. I even saw the Betrayer in the flesh, even though briefly. Aurelu was rumored to be a dangerous witch. For many years she had lived in isolation, carrying out strange experiments in deliberate obscurity. She was noticed in the end. The best witch hunters tried to capture her, and it's said that many of them perished in the attempt. When I saw her, she was no longer a dangerous enemy. After many days in a dungeon, she was nothing more than a pale shadow. I was told her spirit was already broken when she was brought to Threshold. She gave the guards no trouble. Or I think it's safe to say now that her compliance was simply a ruse, cunning deception. When the wound opened, it shook the world. My Lady Pulura, in her heavenly wisdom, was one of the first to realize the magnitude of the threat and sent her priests a vision, along with an order to run and hide. But many couldn't find it within them to obey this order. How could they leave their beloved homeland, their homes, family, friends? Many of my brothers and sisters perished, losing a hopeless fight against wave after wave of demon. I was destined for a different fate. So was my shrine. Lady Pulura hid it from the eyes of the demons. I had a vision telling me about the work that needed to be done to avenge the fall of Sarkoris and rid the world of the Worldwound. It was when I learned the difficult task would take a century to complete and that it would require us to make many sacrifices. I was willing. There are celestials as well as mortals here at the temple. Yes, of course. Angels and Azatas from the court of Lady Pulura often visited the temple in his days of glory. This place was hidden away and we were given our mission. Some of them decided to stay and support us. Like us, they have not gone beyond these walls for 100 years. They help us here in the temple, and of course, we are all united in our desire to heal the Worldwound. Arushale looks at the Azata with a wistful delight, but she turns away, seemingly shy as soon as they return her gaze. Good luck to you. Do not hesitate to contact me if you need anything. You can also rest in the guard room when you're tired. Do not worry, Commander. The corruption of the Abyss cannot reach you here. Our temple is built on holy ground beneath the stars of Pulura. The inhabitants of the temple keep its existence a secret. How did you find out about it? Pulura herself told me about this temple, about the mission of its inhabitants. The mistress of the Aurora Iobara and I may differ in character and appearance, but we are both angels and protectors of good. We help one another, especially when the matter involves demons, our foe of old. Can you tell me about Eliandra? Yeah, she's just standing next to us, so just talk about her. Gossip. She's the ideal priestess, a selfless servant of the goddess and her people. Eliandra discovered her gift when she was only 13. Ever since then, she has healed, guided, and protected the inhabitants of Sarkoris. I've met very few mortals who are capable of such abnegation. She's never married or had a family, has devoted herself entirely to service. In return, the Shimmering Maiden has rewarded Eliandra for her sacrifice. She's always been the strongest of Pulura's priestesses. Can you tell me about Katair? He's a warrior, and the strength of his spirit is unmatched. He has devoted his entire life to the cause. His resilience and dedication have helped to protect and preserve the temple throughout the madness of these past 100 years. However, he does not simply defend the temple from its enemies, he also provides the community with the leadership it needs. Eliandra inspires and heals, but that is on its own is not enough to keep the temple functioning over such a long period. Okay, can we, there is a stargazer and a Lilland Azata. Let's run through here for a moment. I want to... Oh wow, look at that. That is beautiful. That does look like a puzzle though. Glad we found one. Alright, another door. Another Lilland Azata. I yearn to be in the palace of Lady Pulura. I long to fly again, to see my brothers and sisters, to be free.
A success worthy of praise.
Tomes are filled with ephemerides, data about the movements of the celestial bodies. The data seems to have been gathered over centuries. Okay. Set of tables filled with astronomical data and observations about the Worldwound. Here is a Nidalov. This is not the person I'm looking for, right? A dark-haired woman is absorbed in sketching an assortment of dagger blades lying on the ground before her. The sketchbook beside her is also filled with drawings of weapons. Suddenly aware that she's being watched, the woman looks up from her work with an exclamation of surprise. Oh, visitor in our temple. Your weaponry is so interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot to introduce myself. I'm Nidalov, a priestess of Pulura, mistress of stars and farewells. Can you tell me about this place? Nothing that you couldn't learn from others. This is an ancient temple, one of the most sacred in all Sarkoris. After the wound opened, it turned into a secret enclave of resistance. Of course, we don't fight the demons directly, but our knowledge will help us to defeat them someday, once and for all. Who better to take up such a burden than us? Of course, we did not expect Lady Pulura to prolong our mortal lives, but I'm glad of her gift. I would gaze at the stars for another 100, even another 200 years, if it would help us succeed in our mission. What are you drawing? By a stroke of luck, I came across some blades belonging to ritual daggers. They were just lying in a box in some dusty corner. Just imagine, Sarkorian art stored away in the temple, then forgotten. So this is what I do in my spare time. I gather the items that once made our nation famous and make sketches, and whatever I cannot find, I draw from memory. During the first 20 years of our imprisonment, I sketched our traditional clothing and adornments. I tried to account for all the clans, even those that had perished or disappeared before the opening of the Worldwound. Luckily, items from all across Sarkoris are stored in our temple. They were once brought as gifts or for the funeral rites of the chieftains. Then I switched to cookware, and then to wood carvings. The wood carvings took me almost half a century, and since that was one of the main art forms practiced in Sarkoris, now I've moved on to weapons, and when I'm finished, it will be the most complete collection of sketches of the subject of Sarkorian art. At the very least, these items will be preserved on paper, if nowhere else. Can you tell me about your leaders? They certainly know how to make an impression, don't they? They are as different as day as the night. That is their strength, and therefore ours as well. Katair is our protector. He's a rock, an anchor against the storm, holding fast against the tide of demon hordes. Eliandra is our guiding star. She's been the leader of others since childhood, and I should know I followed her here, to the temple. Okay, another stargazer. I miss our waterfall, the roar of the water, the spray of the mist in the air, but I'm also glad we did not abandon the temple. We did not leave it to be desecrated by demons. Greetings, brother. It's surprising to see a soul of mortal shine so brightly. What are you looking at here? 19 gold? That looks like something I could take. Alright, this looks like our bed. And we can pick this lock.
I finished here. Is there more?
Look at that, 4,000 gold. Yes, thank you. No one saw that, right? I mean, they're isolated from the world. They really don't need money, right? Where are they buying stuff from? The starry sky is miraculously reflected in the surface of the water. The mirrored image is a perfect reproduction of the real thing, allowing you to see even the smallest details. That is really cool. Okay, so we've been here. Let's see, can we speak to another stargazer here? Not with a substantial conversation. A schedule listing the daily responsibilities of the stargazers and guards. The schedule is packed so tightly, those who adhere to it must have limited time for anything else. Okay. Flags have been hung in celebration, but they're old and faded and look more sad than cheerful. Parcels wrapped in parchment, tied with strings, perhaps they're meant to be gifts. A table is set with bowls of unappetizing, conjured food. Glasses of water, it's clearly intended to be a feast, though it's rather austere affair. Alright, Auden, what's your deal? The dwarf looks critically at the table that's been set for the feast. There, plates, cutlery. Still no nice cups though. Just have to wrap the present and oh, we finally have guests in our quiet abode. Please come in, have a glass of water. Fortunately there's nothing else I can offer you, but our water is the very purest quality. I'm Auden, by the way, a stargazer at your service. Pure water is very rare in the wound, do not underestimate its value. Of course, but from time to time something stronger wouldn't hurt, eh? But we have strict rules about such things. A stargazer can't be seeing double, can he? What's the occasion? My daughter Ranhild turns 125 today. Such an important date calls for an important gift, but where could I get such a present? Well, luckily there is soft stone in the local caves and I've carved her a clasp of a cloak. Came out alright, I think. Of course, when we complete our star vigil, I'll get her something better. Seems like only yesterday she was running around in her little shift, asking me to toss her in the air, and now 125. How time flies. Where's the guest of honor? Truth be told, I don't know. I can only hope she's in a safe place with her mother and aunts. Do you see the packages in the corner? Those are all her gifts. Never had a chance to give them. I suppose she's outgrown most of them, but what if I'm a grandpa now, eh? Her grandchildren could have them. I wish I knew for sure. Wait, you're from Dresden. You must know about Wintersun Village. There was a temple of Wurm there 100 years ago. Maybe it's still there. Oh boy. The temple of Wurm was not a nice place. There was a place where if two priests entered, they had to fight each other to the death, and only one could leave. I know that the priests of Wurm were hiding my family and other refugees when the invasion began. Please go to the temple and search for anything or anyone that might provide answers about what happened to my family. Even if the truth is bitter, I want to know. I can't remain in blissful ignorance forever. Back to Wintersun. Again. Here I just titled the video, I finally beat the Wintersun map. Well, guess where I'm going next. Alright, I'll find your daughter. You're putting aside your own important affairs just to help me? I don't know what to say. Thanks. if you find Ranhild, please give her this. Let her know that her daddy always remembers her birthday and give her all my love and good wishes. Yeah. I think you might be disappointed. Got another stargazer here who misses the waterfall. Ragnard. Pale young man is staring at you. Incredible. I didn't think anyone could find this place. This is, you're a gift from heaven. Oh, I mean, forgive my rudeness. I'm Ragnar, the stargazer. I'm very pleased to meet you. Think you might be the only one who can help me. Why is that? The undead roam near the entrance to our caves. They were once great warriors, but now they're just corpses raised to undead through some foul ritual. Become very interested in one of them. You see, I studied the history of Sarkoris. Legend tells a great ruler named Ibere, who was buried with his mighty sword, the Rage of Ice. Of course, most people think it's just a myth, but when the guards told me they defeated an undead who was wearing ancient armor and wielding an ornate sword, I almost lost my mind. Guards don't want to get near the corpses again, even if he really is dead this time, but maybe you could bring me Rage of Ice? Just think, we could prove that Ibere, the Master of Is, really existed. Be a breakthrough in historical research. Sure, I can bring you that sword. Young men such as yourself must find it difficult to be stuck in one place for so long. Ah, young man, you say, I've forgotten how old I really am. But Pulura's grace, my body does not age but my soul. My soul feels dry, even if I'm nothing more than an empty husk. I used to admire the stars, but now all I see is a collection of dim lights in the sky. I know their paths by heart, but I'm probably not interested in all that. Okay. A rack filled with what looks like to be ancient Sarkorian weapons. Right, okay, so we found that guy. Teriel is another one that we need to help. An elf stargazer is studying a pile of parchments. His appearance is disheveled and his attention seems to be entirely focused on the calculations in front of him. And again, I knew it. That confirms everything. When the elf notices your presence, he looks up from his work. The commander of Dresden, incredible. Never thought I'd hear those words. My name's Teriel, and I'm a stargazer. Tell me, commander. You make the rules in Dresden? Do you abide by them? Yes. As a commander, I must set an example for my soldiers. Teriel looks at you in disbelief. Such noble words. It's been a long time since I've seen a leader who doesn't think they're above the rules. You must know the person I'm talking about, of course. Katair? Are you trying to accuse Katair of something? Known him for ages, trust me, we were close friends for a long time. He certainly knows how to make a good impression, but if you look beyond his fake exterior, you'll begin to see his true nature. Teriel points to the parchments, which are filled with columns of strange digits and symbols. Look for yourself, it's obvious. A week ago, it was the stone tree. 3 months ago, it was the outskirts of Wintersun. 20 years ago, it was the outside of Dresden. 50 years ago, it was Is, and finally 70 years ago, the stone tree. I assume he's visiting someone, most likely a woman. Teriel glances at you and frowns. Ah, yes, forgive me, I haven't spoken to anything about this for a while. To me it's clear as day, but I can understand how you might find my calculations confusing. The stars tell me about Katair's movement, and I can assure you sometimes he goes to places that are not filled with demons and cultists, but with wine and women. Take Dresden, for example. You see, Katair has forbidden everyone who remained in the temple from seeing their family. He says it's dangerous, that we must keep the secret of our lair. But for some reason, this rule doesn't apply to him. We all vowed to stay within these walls and fulfill our duty, yet he gets to leave the temple whenever he wants. So what is he up to out there? I bet my life that he's going to see his wife, Imris. Or some other woman. What other reason could he have to go to the stone tree? Dresden was still under control of demons 20 years ago. If you'd really been keeping an eye on Katair, you would know that. You're right. Keep forgetting about what happened to Dresden. It's hard to remember everything, but on one thing I'm absolutely clear. Katair went to the stone tree 70 years ago, and I know that, because we haven't spoken since then. Well, of course, I have no need to keep track of his comings and goings. Why would I, when I don't speak to him? But when he's been away for a long time, Eliandra asks me to check on him to make sure he's still alive. That's why I have these calculations. So you see, it's nothing personal. I simply want what's best for the temple. And what is the stone tree? It's a tall tree, withered and petrified even before the demons invaded. For some reason it remains standing. It's supposed to be a sacred place. They used to hold celebrations and wedding there. Imris and Katair got married there too, you know. So it makes all the sense. That's the tree in Wintersun, I guess. Where we found the mad woman that turned out to be the leader of one of the orders. Why don't you tell Eliandra that Katair is breaking the rules? You really think she'd believe me? She trusts Katair more than any of us. She and Katair agree on everything. She's always taking his side. Okay, I'll find out where he goes. Tariel nods in satisfaction. Excellent. He definitely stopped at the stone tree. I wouldn't be surprised if he's cozying up to some beauty from Wintersun in a cave somewhere. Probably feasting with her and laughing at us fools not trusting him. May Pulura keep you safe. Now, where did I put my quill? Okay. Well, if I'm about to help you, I'm gonna help myself to these 8 gold pieces as well. More stargazers. More loot. Another 20 gold.
Let us be off.
Is this Christree? Yes. Christree greets you anxiously, as if expecting the worst. Are you the commander from Dresden? Although I don't know why I asked. It's not like you could be anyone else. Listen, Christree, the commander, I don't think the commander wishes us harm. If you want to ease your conscience, tell him everything. Vestari said you wanted to confess something to Eliandra. Yes, I want to confess to Eliandra and her entire community that Vestari and I love each other. We've loved each other for so long, we're practically an old married couple. Eliandra is against romantic unions, because she thinks tempestuous passions will cause divisions in her community. But she doesn't understand the nature of love. You can discipline the flesh, but you cannot restrain the soul. Not that Eliandra would believe us, but Vestari and I really did try to resist our feelings. We made a vow to stay away from one another, to never again break the rules, but the bond between us proved stronger than our resolve. Perhaps it's the will of the stars, and despite everything that's happened, we are simply 2 halves that are meant to be one whole. If Sarkoris hadn't fallen, we'd have lived happily and freely. We wouldn't have to hide, but we wouldn't have to exchange stupid notes. These notes aren't stupid. Do you really want us to be torn apart, forbidden from seeing one another? Eliandra is a kind and wise leader. I will persuade her not to stand in the way of your love. Christree looks at you doubtfully. I've known her longer than you. Of course, Eliandra is kind, but she's also very stubborn. Once she's made a decision, there is no point trying to change her mind. She and Katair are much alike in that regard, except he always does what's right, and she always does what her heart tells her. And of course, her heart has told her that love should be forbidden, supposedly for the sake of peace in the community. These stupid rules haven't helped anyone to find peace.
Let's move!
Okay, so that is at least something for which we do not have to travel. We can do that right here. Where did Eliandra go? Oh, she's right there. She's right there, Ralph. Statue of Pulura, made in the simple but expressive style of the characteristics of Sarkoris. Look at that. Here she is, Lady Pulura. Okay, let's try and convince Eliandra. I want to talk to you about the stargazers, Vestari and Christree. Vestari and Christree, my dear rebels, you must think I'm harsh for enforcing such strict rules here in the temple, but such measures are necessary when you live through decades of isolations in such a small community, shut off from the rest of the world. Love and all the jealousy, discord, quarrels, and breakups that go along with it could result in genuine disaster. Vestari and Christree are the living embodiment of such a disaster. I love them with all my heart, like they're my own children. However, before my temple was hidden 100 years ago, they could have 5 quarrels and 6 reconciliations, all between one moonrise and the next. At other times, they would go a month without talking to each other. Created quite a problem since stargazers are supposed to share their observations and research. This carried on for years until after a particularly public fracas, I decided to forbid all romantic relationships in the temple. It was an impulsive decision, I admit, but I was not made without reason. I was trying to maintain peace in our community. I was also concerned for the feelings of others. Many of those you see here, Auden, Tariel, even Katair himself, parted with their families for the sake of our mission. It's unfair to them to be the only ones to painfully deprived. So that is why love and relationships are not forbidden in the community. And as you can see, the rules are largely the result of Astari and Christry's own actions. Diplomacy, we should be able to do this, right? You've lived here for many years, you've become a family. Does a family reward love with punishment? Astari and Christry have loved each other for a long time. It's not a sudden whim, they deserve your acceptance. Eliandra is silent for a long time. I'm afraid this decision will be the most difficult for Auden, Tariel and the others who have lost their families. May also cause chaos in the future, but perhaps you're right. We should not try to thwart the desires of the heart. I will inform the community about changes to the rules. Okay, cool. So, can we go back and inform them? Christry and Vistari stand together, showing a united front. They are not holding hands, but you can feel the unbreakable bond between them. I told Eliandra about everything, she won't stand in your way. Eliandra agreed to change the rules for us? That doesn't sound like her, but I guess we have all changed over the years. Thank you, we will never forget the kindness you and the High Priestess have shown us. The defiance fades from Christry's eyes. I don't know how you convinced her, but I think you've worked a miracle. I guess Eliandra really does care about us. I admit I was wrong. Thank you. Aren't you afraid of being seen together? I thought if the truth came out I'd die of terror, but for some reason I feel braver than ever. Christry looks at him tenderly. We're meant for one another. Our destiny has been written in the stars. They are never wrong. May Pulura keep you safe. I'm so glad that the stars have led you here. The stars help those who help themselves. Alright, we got another door here we haven't been to. Vigdis.
Follow me.
Alrighty.
I'm glad I was useful to you.
I am glad about that too, Arushale. Someone has put a plate of food scraps near a hole in the wall, hoping to tame some small animal. Alright, so let's speak to Vigdis as well. I'm assuming she's he or she's a stargazer that has an issue that we need to take care of. Tiny old woman runs her bony fingers along the tops of several magic scrolls, her hips. Her hips moving silently. Ralph, get your dirty mind out of this game. Who are you? The old woman squints short-sightedly, and who are you? The voice is not familiar, and I can't see her face. I don't know you. My name is Vigdis. I was once a junior priestess of Pulura, and now I manage the temple's resources and provisions. Put everything where it belongs, keep it safe. If you were once a priestess, why aren't you a stargazer like everyone else? Because she's blind, dumbass. My stargazing days are over, I only see what's under my nose. Lady Pulura decided my old eyes should have some rest after all these years. Are you a traitor? A traitor? No. There's no trade in this temple. Who would trade with us? I make sure everyone is fed and their needs are met. Whenever anyone brings anything to the temple, they give it to me. Have you brought me something? Or perhaps it's the opposite and there is something you wish to take? Everyone is free to take what they need. Hey, show me what the temple has. You may take or leave whatever you wish. Everything here is as much yours as it is ours. Wow, that's very impressive. Alright, so I helped myself to all the potions and the scrolls. So what I'm gonna do right now is take a really quick look at the journal. Tell the guard about what transpired. Ah yes, I still need to talk to that guard. I'm guessing there is... Spring Run Dry... Shrine's Guard, yep, that one we know. Teriel, Odin, and Ragnard. It's like you've brought the spirit of victory with you, Commander of Dresden. I hope we don't have to wait much longer. There's been no betrayal, it was just a misunderstanding. There wasn't? Oh, that's a load off my mind. Over the years, we've become a family here. If there truly was a traitor in the temple, well, it would change our lives forever. Thank you for the good news. Okay, so that is one thing. Now that I'm near the entrance... Although I think I'm gonna do that in the next episode. Like, how about I go outside here, grab that sword that they're looking for, and then go back to Winter Sun and try and figure out what's happening there? And I'll be doing that in the next episode. If you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.